smartest mind, whose world is this?
Muddy Mo, Muddy Mo, E, Muddy Mo, Muddy Mo. Aight! What's up, crypto world? It's your boy Muddy Mo, aka the King of Minnows, aka the Dapp White Paper God, and you have tuned into Crypto Dap Yap. Alright, so today we're gonna be talking about Hex, and basically we're gonna be talking about the PyraHEX platform versus Hex Staking. Alright. Now, before we get into that, y'all know I gotta talk to my minnows. I'm the king of minnows, so I gotta talk to us, man. One thing I want us to understand, man, is although we don't have a lot of crypto to throw around in these crypto dapps and these platforms, the one major thing that I think we all could really agree to is that crypto minnows, we have to stick together. So basically, there's strength in our numbers, right? So we gotta stick together and really affect some change in these platforms to really help not just the whales but us, the crypto minnows. All right, so just know that keep going forward. As long as we stick together, everything will be all right, and we can really affect some changes in these dapps. Now, today's subject, Hex. All right, so before I get going, let me give you a disclaimer. So Hex is very controversial right now. It's kind of ridiculous, so there's people with very strong feelings on both sides. Some people absolutely love Hex to death, swear by it, and then you have others who are absolutely against it. They call it the S word. Y'all know it's a scam, it's a scam. You know how they do. That's how they basically put in Hex as a scam. All right, and to Muddy Mo, to me, I really think there's a very distinct difference in the two groups. The major difference is that, to me, you have the non-Dapp people, so people who are not accustomed to dapps and who really have no clue about the crypto dap world, and then you have the others that's on the crypto dap side, which we know about crypto daps, and we do this stuff every day, making that crypto, making it every day. We getting it in, we getting them dividends. So just going forward, I just want y'all to know that there's two sides of this coin. So either you love Hex or you hate Hex. I'm just being objective, and y'all know I'm talking to the minnows. All right, y'all want to hear more? Stay tuned. All right, so let's jump right off into this. So Richard Heart. So for those of you who don't know, Richard Heart is a Bitcoin enthusiast. He's a very smart guy, and he is. A lot of people know him as controversial within the space. Very knowledgeable, very knowledgeable. But as y'all know, with most knowledgeable people, sometimes that doesn't portray well to other people. So he is the creator of Hex, and he is gung-ho on proving to everybody that Hex is the real deal, and that Hex is one of those one of the coins that's going to be around for the future, and it's going to make people a lot of crypto, a lot of money. All right. So, Muddy Mo's take on Richard Heart is that, to me, he's just out of touch with common people. So typically, if you've ever worked in a career, or have ever worked with engineers or engineer type of people, they're generally very smart people. However, one of the big issues they have is that they can't translate their knowledge a lot of times to normal people, to common people. They talk above their head a little bit. And I think Richard has a little bit of a problem with that. However, I do think he's sincere in what he's trying to do with Hex. He really is passionate about it, and he really tries to promote it in a way that, hopefully he doesn't have regulators coming after him, which he's fighting them now. To me, he's getting lawyers on. He live streams with all kind of people, and as you see here, that's Roger Ver, and just a lot of people that's really big into the crypto space. So to me, Richard is not, he's obviously just not fully aware of what Hex in the Dapp space, along with Hex, because he does Hex through ETH. He's not aware of how big it is, and basically he's not aware, as he should be, of the Dapp community. He's very aware of the crypto community, but the Dapp community, you already know, man, we got our own thing going over here. So I think he's fairly new to our community, which can kind of come across wrong in a lot of ways. So to kind of jump into Hex, one thing I do want to say about Richard Heart is him being so known in the general crypto world. I think that's very good for the Dapp space, because to me, he's going to be inviting people from the general public or the crypto public who generally probably wouldn't get into dapps, and they generally don't understand what dapps are about. So to me, those types of people always say, "Oh, it's a scam." They always connect every dApp to BitConnect, which is very short-sighted, and I think that they should, do their research and know a little bit more about the dApp space. But Richard does a good job of bringing, I think, general people into dApps, which is good for everybody. So here is Hex.win. This is basically like the home page, and I think it's supposed to basically describe what Hex is and what it's going to do. So, one thing that Richard goes up against, he has a lot of people that's challenging him on Hex, and for good reason. So if we look at the website here, I'm gonna be honest. Money Mo, I'm in and out of dApps, and I've been in this space for a while. One thing I can tell you about his website here, it just feels scammy. Like it just feels like it's something that he's not telling you. Oh, you can get rich, you can get 100,000% gains and things like that. And generally, people don't really buy into things like that because we've been scammed so much before that we know that that's not true. But he just never before seen features and different things about the Hex coin on this site. Just basically talking about what Hex is and how Hex can basically make everybody rich. Now the one thing we do know, if anything else, is that nothing in this world makes everybody rich, right? Like, we know that. So one of the things about Richard Hart, I wish he would really kind of change his language when it comes to that, because Hex can be very, very good, but you telling people they're gonna get all this ROI and all these different things, that just scares a lot of people away, especially those who are not in the dApp space. We're in the dApp space, but a lot of people that he's inviting are not in the dApp space. Really brief. Talk about what Hex does and how to get into Hex. So basically, people every day, this is the AA lobby, his Hex AA lobby. Basically, you get your ETH, you can buy your Hex here, and each day, depending on how much other people buy, you get a certain amount of Hex. All right. So I know one major question that I have and a lot of people have is that what is Richard Hart? What are you going to do with all this ETH that you're getting? If you're making the coin better, you're making something that people can use down the road. That's great, right? But if not, where is that ETH going to go? And I think that scares a lot of people off, just because it's not clear instructions on your compiler. You see all this ETH, you see 737, 604, 560. Like, that's a lot of ETH, and I think he has a certain percentage of the ETH space just because of this dApp. But what are you gonna do with that ETH, Richard? Like, as long as you bring value to the Hex coin, I think over time it can really grow, and that's the promise that he's having. That, hey, if you're getting this, that we're gonna give you more Hex over time. But it's almost like you're spending your ETH to get a coin that we don't know what it's gonna do. Alright, so let's talk about why I'm in Hex. Let's talk about why Muddy Mo. Y'all know I'm the king of Minnows, so I gotta talk for us too. So this is why I'm in Hex, and if you're a Minnow, you might want to think about Hex. One of the major reasons is because of Richard Hart himself. Very popular, very, very popular. And like I said before, he can bring new people into this. So over time, even though it's kind of depreciating, the value of Hex is depreciating now. And as you see every day, you're getting more Hex for the amount of ETH that you put in, which is not normal. It's different. It could work though. So I'm a Minnow. I can't afford to not take a chance like this. So that's one reason. Another reason is it has a very, very great opportunity to have people win big. Like, you can get a lot over time if this thing gets some value to it. So you can basically go from zero to hero in a lot of ways. And to me, like, I think a Hex, it's almost like to me, it's almost like roulette. Some people in roulette, they play the colors, they play black or red, or they play high or low or something like that. The people that's trying to win big, it's certain numbers that you can pick on a roulette wheel. Some people just pick their number and roll with it. They put all their chips on that number. And to me, Hex is like that. Like, it's almost like a big gamble. But if it works long term, this could be huge, and you can win very, very big. So that's another reason I'm in it. So probably the biggest reason that Muddy Mo's in Hex is because it's still early, and us as Minnows, we have to get in stuff early. We gotta be first in line. We got the small stacks, we got the small crypto in our pockets. We got to be first in line because we can get the biggest gains. So Minnows can really benefit by getting in this early, and it's still very early. His staking is supposed to last 350 days until you get the big payday, and right now it's only on day 33, so it's a long way to go. All right, but the one major thing with Hex is that I'm just concerned that I don't know how Richard Hart plans to grow the value of Hex once this staking ends. So after day 351, after everybody gets their big paydays, right? Right now it's depreciating, it's going down in value every day. If you go ahead and buy it on BuyDesk or Saturn Network, you can buy Hex straight off those platforms, and the value is just dropping every single day. So Richard, what are you going to do to grow the value of the use case of Hex over time? I think it has an opportunity to be great, but we have to find a way, or he has to find a way to make this thing valuable over time. All right, now this is one of the big issues that I've had with Richard Hart when it comes to him basically being able to adapt to how fast things move in the crypto Dap space. And this is how I can tell he's not in the Dap space, because he's not flexible to new programs and new things. So I'm about to talk about PyraHEX in just a second, which is a Dap that's kind of built. It's an hourglass Dap that's built off of the Hex platform, or off of the Hex coin, I should say. But let's read Richard's tweet here about, basically this is about Pyrabank. He didn't use names, but this is what he basically said. So here's how the pyramid scheme someone built on Hex works. You lose 24% on entry, hoping to make it back by screwing over the last guy's end. So far, 123 victims sent 104 million Hex to it. Now I think right now it's over 350 million. So I don't know, how valid he is here. And then he says pyramid schemes are bad. If they were good, they'd be the top of the market cap list. They're not, which is not entirely true. He just does not understand a lot about it, and a lot of people are not open to understanding how these dApps work. Now, we already talked about him being unflexible and unwilling to understand exactly how it works. So let's talk about Pyrabank real quick. Now, this is Pyrabank. This is what Richard, the tweet we just saw, this is what he's saying is the big scam, Pyrabank. Right now it's up to 374 million. So, for those who don't know, Pyrabank is essentially a hourglass contract that's based off of Hex, and it gives you Hex. He's right, it's 24% off of whatever you put in to get in, but it gives you holdings off of anybody else who comes in or out after you in the contract. So everyone gets a pool of dividends based on the movement of other people in and out the contract. So basically just people helping people, right? People helping people. That's what it is. So now as you see here, the greens are the buys or the reinvest, right? The reds are when people are taking out. So this thing is a couple days in, probably a week now, and you see how many reds it is. It's not many. Right now, with the price of Hex being so low, it's almost like people don't have anything to lose by getting into a Pyrabank this contract. And one thing that he doesn't understand is that you can call it a scam all you like, but the people are going to speak, right? It's all about the people, man. It's all about the people. They're going to tell you, they're going to basically show you what's going to work and what's not by what they put their funds into, what they put their crypto into. So to get into Pyrabank, it's 0.1 in, so you do 1.1 in, and there's also other fees associated with that. And then it's, if you want to take your Hex out, is 0.9, right? So yeah, it's 0.9 to take it out. All right. So you see right now, I just reinvested some, but you see like this thing grows every day, and this is a key point that I'm gonna come back to in just a moment. But let's talk about, before we get to that, let's go back to Hex. Let's go back to Richard's contract, and let's kind of see what he's doing with his AA lobby and with Hex staking. The first thing, this is the first issue. Now Muddy Mo, I'm gonna talk to the Minnows, so let me holler at the Minnows. The biggest issue with Hex that I don't like is that it's based off the Ethereum platform. But the major problem with Ethereum is that it's all about the gas fees. It costs a lot of your crypto to get in and out and do small things. This is why the Tron network or the Tron coin is really popular, because it does not cost users a lot to get in and out of things. So right now, you see I have all these stakes here. Let's just say if I was to end this stake. If I was to end this stake, okay, let's just see what happens. I end this stake. So if I were to end this stake, I'm trying to end this stake here. Ending this stake, you get MetaMask that pops up. So let's see. So basically, for those you don't know, just real quick about MetaMask and how ETH works. There's a gas fee for every time you want to do anything on with the Ethereum platforms, and there's different gas fees associated with it. And what happens is, if this network gets clogged up, this gets very expensive. Like right now, that's pretty cheap for a penny, right? And it gives you the average time it's going to take for that transaction to go through. But this can get up to $2-3, which is very expensive. And as y'all know, we Minnows, that's too much for us, all right? So this is one of the major issues I have with it. And then everything that you do on his platform is going to take you to basically spend some gas to do it. If you want to, here's staking, but if we go back to buying some, every time you want to enter, it's going to cost you something. So that's one major problem with it. Another major problem is, and I just finished a stake recently, so I can actually talk to this. I can actually speak on this. So once you're staking, and I have one coming up in the next probably couple of days. Once you have it, and I have these, I just finished these stakes, right? So when I first got into Hex, I did them for a short amount of times. But the issue is, once this ends, this is gonna turn green. All right, so then you hit that. You gotta again go and spend your gas to have that transaction go through, and then it gives you options. I think it's in stake and good connection. This is a major problem, like I was just saying, that Richard Hart has with Hex. The problem is that that's not easy to understand what to do. What's the options, right? And that just doesn't work. People don't like to guess when it comes to, especially if they're ending in a stake, they're getting their gains for holding their coins on this platform. They don't see where that goes. It's not easy to see how you get your Hex back after it's done, which is a headache. So I think Richard's an engineer type. So being an engineer type, you got to understand, like, he doesn't understand how to make things easy for the common person, the person that just works a regular job, come home, have a family, whatever they have, whatever they do. He doesn't know how to make things easy for them. Now, one major thing I want to talk about is we already talked about its depreciating value. So the Hex token is depreciating over time, but the major thing is day 351, which I think all the staking ends, and all, I think the AA library, this is the AA library where you can buy it. After day 351, that's going to be very important to see what happens, all right? Because after day 351, we're going to see all the people that got in initially, all the people that got in down here the first day, and they stayed to get that big bonus, which now I'm happy he's working on the UI a little bit. But now he has the Hex bonuses in there. Let me go back to stake here. He has the big payday bonuses. All right, so if you hold your Hex for a certain amount of time, you get that big payday bonuses. Now you see, I didn't do a lot of them, and when I initially got in, that's the first thing I did. It's like, I need that big payday. So that's gonna be very important for this platform. But I'm gonna be honest with you, 351 days in crypto is like 20 years. That's a long time to wait and see what happens. So we'll see what happens after that. Another thing that he can really do to improve this is he needs to get an FAQ up here somewhere. It shouldn't just be on a different site where you have to go and find it. And that's what makes it, like I say, it makes it hard to use. Another issue he's having right now, well, I think that Hex is having, is that Hex is usually, you can buy here in the AA lobby and hope that you get a lot in return. You see, I was putting in small amounts every day, and I was getting small returns compared to some whales. But it's actually cheaper if you go and buy it off BuyDesk or go buy it off of Saturn Network. It's cheaper to buy it. So it's almost devaluing this AA lobby here. It almost doesn't make sense to have the AA lobby when you can buy it cheaper off of exchange. And people who have a little crypto knowledge will do just that. They're going to go to an exchange. Let me tell you why I stopped buying. I stopped buying on this. You see, I was buying every day for a while, right? I spent probably 20 days just buying. The reason I stopped buying is because of the platform that he called a scam, which us in crypto, we know some contracts are scams, but I don't think this is a scam. It's because of Pyrabank, and I'm about to show you in just a second why you make so much more off of just putting your hex into Pyrabank. It just doesn't make sense. So again, back to my old point, Richard needs to learn how to adapt his platform and adapt to what the people are gonna do. The people are gonna go what's more beneficial. Period. Especially us minnows. We don't got time to wait and play. Oh, I just support Richard, so I'll do this. No, bro. No, nah. It's not happening. We're gonna go get that crypto, get that money. We're gonna go get that. All right. So now let's jump to Pyrabank real quick. Oh, and last but not least, about Hex. One of the issues, and let me go back to the staking here. One of the major issues is that the stakes are too restrictive, right? If I pull out, and I did this just to kind of see what's gonna happen, y'all know, man, Money Mo, King of Minnows, I show y'all what's going on. Do this for y'all. But one thing, I just ended a couple stakes just to see what happened. These stakes are too restrictive, and I'm about to show you Pyrabank. Pyrabank, once you're in it, is more open. You can take your coins off. You can take your hex off whenever you want. So this is very, very restrictive to end a stake because you're gonna lose some, and it wastes your time. If you see, and I'll talk about this in a second, but you see right here, I lost 35 hex for taking that 2,000 hex stake out. That's a headache. People don't like headaches when it comes to dapps. All right. So now let's jump to Pyrabank. All right. So Pyrabank, to me, especially if you're a minnow, it's just easier and smoother to use Pyrabank. Period. It just is. It might be a 24% going in and out. Let's see. So I got a few Pyro here, a few hex here. Let me see. So right now, I'll get 206 Pyro for that. So that's about 24% in and out, and that goes into your Pyro holdings. Now, one major thing I do not like about Pyrabank, this is the only thing I do not like about Pyrabank, is that you have to do multiple things. So first you have to approve it, which takes your ETH. Another thing, y'all told you I hate that, right? More fees. And then after you do that, then you can mint these tokens that you're buying. So it's just kind of a headache to do that. But I don't know if it's an easy way around that form. Now, one thing about Pyra is that it's just not Hex. They have multiple different coins that they support. So I'm also in Tron. So let's look at Tron. So they have different coins. So they know what they're doing a little bit. Now, to the Ethereum contract didn't work as well, but they have Tron and they have BitTorrent and these other coins that they support. They're doing the same exact type of contract. All right. Basically a percentage in and percentage out, and once you're in, you get a percentage off of everybody who comes in and out that contract. Now you see, you already know I'm broke. I only got 73 Tron here. But yeah, so I'm getting a little bit here, and I could add to that if I wanted to, but I just want to kind of see what it does. But yeah, so Hex is good because they're pretty much already experienced in doing these type of platforms, so it's just perfect timing for it. Now, another thing about Pyrabank is that you can sell small amounts, right? So if you only want to sell, just say I got 120,000, just say I want to sell 300, I can do that and get this hex out, no problem. And that's something that you can't do with the Hex Staking there. Also, it's a very, very simple and sleek, easy to use site, right? My daughter can come on here and she can figure this out at 9 years old exactly how to how to use this site. Almost, it's not hard to use, which is very good. Like, assume that we're all dumb, just assume that we're stupid, and you need to have your site as simple as possible. And that's one thing that Pyrabank does. They do a good job of that. Now, let me talk about the reason I think Pyrabank is going to last a long time, or a nice amount of time, is because people are going to reinvest. Especially, I already said this, while the price of Hex is low right now, people are going to reinvest. Now, you got some people taking out here, but you see all these, half of these I bet are reinvest. If you're in here, yesterday I saw like 1,500 in Hex. On the AA lobby, let me go back. You see how many I was getting, basically small amounts for a long period of time. Like, this is a 360-day stake, right? This is the bonus Hex I can get. I bet you I can get 50,000 Hex in 2 weeks. Especially if people are in and out of the Pyra contract. this is gonna take too long. I'm just waiting. You see, I've been in for that's about 20, 30 days. I only got 30 hex, right? I just let me go back to Pyrabank. I just withdrew like an hour ago, and I had 1,500 in a day. It just doesn't make sense. It's got to add up for us. So, and last thing on Pyrabank, real quick, is that there's a fixed value. So you always going to be paying 1.1 hex to get Pyra into this contract, and you're always going to be at that 0.9 to withdraw to sell your Pyra. So that's going to stay the same, and that makes it very, very consistent. Y'all know us minnows, we need consistency, and we need to we love fixed rates. Fixed rates really, really benefit us inside this community. All right, y'all want to hear more? Stay tuned. All right, so to close it out, y'all know I'm Muddy Mo, the king of minnows. I talk to the minnows. All right, so as a minnow, I would suggest probably to get in the hex just because it's probably worth it to see what happens and to have something in it. All right, as minnows, y'all already know we have to be with all things, right? We got to be in multiple platforms, hedging our bets, hedging our crypto in multiple dapps, and hopefully one of them hits. And last but not least, make sure you do your own research, man. Make sure y'all study for yourself and do not believe the FUD. Even if Richard Hart says it, do not believe the FUD, all right? Especially the FUD on PyraHEX. And understand the fundamentals of all these sites before you get into them. But to me, if you're going to get Hex, get into PyraHEX, all right? Y'all want to hear more? Stay tuned. Hey man, thank y'all for rocking out with me. I truly, truly appreciate it. It's your boy Muddy Mo, aka the King of Minnows, aka the Dapp White Paper Gaw. And you've just experienced Crypto Dap Yap. Alright? Now if you're interested in getting into any of these dapps, make sure you hit the links in the description below. Also, don't forget to check me out on Library. Support me, tip me, and share. Alright? Check me out on Steam It. Check me out on YouTube. Hit that like and subscribe. And last but not least, make sure y'all check me out on Telegram. Alright? Muddy Mo. Muddy Mo. Y'all want to hear more? Check out the next video.
Whose world is this? It's mine, it's mine, it's mine.